Voice server in Discord. I can't hear your voice, unfortunately. Nah, can't hear you. Join the I'll send you the link. Hey Matt, let me
Hey, can you hear me now?
yeah, let me just turn this off and then we're good. Yeah, perfect, great. Uh, yeah, I can hear you. Perfect. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I've started the stream. I'll edit it and stuff later. But mate.
Yeah.
So this is the hat. It comes with a boombox.
No, it doesn't come with the boombox. It's the boombox from the To the Moon festival that was yesterday.
Right.
Yeah,
I missed that.
pretty cool.
That's
Well, you can
awesome.
still get the wearables. They have the wearables for sale. The boombox is for sale still.
Right. I'll have to
It's
check
like
it
a 1
out.
to 100. Yeah, it's a pretty cool item. It's the most unique one for an arm placement. Like you actually have a whole object and the arm moved. It's kind of a little glitchy with like clapping and stuff. Like look at the clapping with it. It's kind of funny.
The one-handed clap.
The one-handed clap. Yeah, that's just silly.
Oh, that's
It's so
hilarious.
funny. Yeah.
Oh man, that's so good, so original. Oh, you could just do like walk around the skate park with that thing. That's
Mm.
just hilarious. Maybe do a bit of dancing.
Yeah, I thought it was a good thing. And then I got the pink hat. They're mythic hats that there's only 10 of that I have
Right,
a couple of. And then I have two other hats that are black with a gold chain and black with a silver chain that are one of
right.
1,000. Only
Jeez.
selling them for 69 mana each.
Wow. And they're hot
And the
off the
same that
presses.
made your coat. Yeah, and the same guy that made your coat made the hats. So that's kind of awesome.
That's cool. Hang on. So we got Lastrom coming in as well, and he's got
Yeah, last.
the black gold hat
Yeah, and the bomber jacket. Look at him go.
and the bomb. He looks like a police officer, like from the what do you call those guys again? You know, da na na na
From Bur-
da na 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 na. What are those guys called again? I
I
forget.
don't even know.
You know, YMCA, YMCA.
Yeah, I get YMCA. Oh, here
That's
we go.
totally what it is. That's hilarious. I'm not sure if he knows he needs to be in the Discord server or if he's just kind of hanging out.
Oh
Lastrom,
yeah, we can.
I'll just let him know.
Yeah,
We
you can
in
let it.
the Discord
Oh,
if
I
you
see you
want to
put some of
chat.
my stuff up. Cool.
Yeah, mate. I might just quickly do an introduction out here on the street, and then we'll head our way out.
Whatever.
Um, did you want to just jump off the roof there for a second, Zeta? I'll do a quick intro, then we'll make our way up, like an
Sure.
official.
Maybe standing like right here.
Yeah, we'll start off out in the street, and then we'll walk in. All right. 1, 2, 3. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the 100 Rainbows Watermelon podcast, hosted by the 100 Rainbows Academy. And today we are here with Zeta, a Decentraland personality who I would say has a fairly large and sizable influence inside Decentraland. And, he was probably one of the first personalities that I met. Recently found out that he's got 89 parcels, so it'd be really interesting to see what he wants to do with those. And I also know he's had a few art gallery showings, and they're all quite erotic in terms of what I've seen and what I'm used to. So this was just an absolutely engaging personality that I wanted to get to know a little more. And on that note, here he is with his brand new pink hat and boombox. How you going, buddy?
Hey, good. How about you?
Yeah, I'm good,
Good
mate.
to
I'm
be
good,
here
mate.
today.
Awesome. Fantastic to have you. Speaking of hats, I'm gonna have to show you my one that I just got today from Medizu. I think you've already seen
Awesome.
it. But
Is it the one of the newer ones, the watermelon?
yeah, yeah, the watermelon hat. MetaZoo's giving me a few to
It's pretty
giveaway.
for you, melon. Yeah.
Yeah, they're fitting, right?
Oh, I love it. Yeah, I like that it doesn't take off the glasses. That's pretty great.
That's true. That's true. I've got two eyes.
Gives it
And he's actually given
more.
me the chance to sell one of these to generate some revenue as well. So really appreciative to him for that. Um,
Nice.
yeah,
And look,
nice.
I definitely like that as a helmet. It's a really entertaining item.
It is pretty cool. On that note, I'm gonna take it off. Otherwise, I won't be able to do this and take myself seriously. But it's definitely good fun. Um, so
Yeah,
on that so on that note, mate, let's go up and have a look. I'll put up a few of your images, and then
sure.
T
Lead the way.
can yeah, come on through. The Pope machine isn't working yet. I'll have to get that working, but
Yeah.
we'll get there. Um, yeah, so come on up. Just got to hit the arrow to go up. We're going to go to the third floor. One, two. Oh, two floors up. There's the last room.
There we go. Hey.
And yeah, so I thought we'd just kind of chill out here. If you've got any links and things, we can have a look at them as we go, and we'll just kind of start to chat. So what you can do is just hit the watermelon in the middle, and the microphone comes up. Kind of helps to set the scene, but either way, it is
Oh,
there. It's a
like
pretty
a little
cool,
rope now. Yeah, I see that.
yeah, it's a pretty cool little animation there. Just wanted to say,
Actual object. I like that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that's quite fitting. Yeah, mate. So
How about that? There we go. Perfect.
we'll have to look at your bonsai as well, which is there and it's upstairs. I love these things, but yeah, we'll get to that. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
cool. So, mate, why don't you just? I would love to just kind of learn about you, kind of who you are. However much you want to tell us about your in real life person, and we'd love to know about how did you end up in kind of Decentraland, and yeah, what do you do?
Oh, so that's kind of a big question all at once. But I guess the best way to start is that I'm a photographer and producer out in Los Angeles, and I've been doing that for the last decade plus, and work on a number of projects where I work on a lot of mainstream things all the time, but I have another body of work that I've kept anonymous that I've been working on for around 7 years now, and it's kind of like not attached to the other work in any way. It's completely separated, and I've never really done anything beyond an Instagram page of it, and so it's interesting because I found out about Decentraland from some friends on a game called RuneScape that I got sucked back into during COVID. That nothing to do around at home, and might as well boot up the old game I used to play 10 years ago because my friends were egging me on to, and eventually heard about this from some people on there, and then I came over, and I was pretty immediately hooked on the concept of this place.
Yeah,
And finally felt like I never even made a website for the work that I do because it's all like fetish work and like latex related specifically. But I didn't even have a website. And, trying to monetize it didn't feel right in any sort of ways of like trying to go the OnlyFans route or like sell it on like some erotic things or whatever. And I'm more interested in doing artistic things with it and not like over sexualized content. So it's kind of I just saw the potential of like, wow, I actually have a place where I could like put these things up and I could make them NFTs, and it's like a perfect space because there's a lot of people that like how anonymous you remain within this space, and that's like
mm,
the entire theme of my work is the identity of it. So it's kind of I don't know, it just felt like it made sense to do it here.
yeah. I like to touch on the anonymity portion because I mean I myself am anonymous, and um, being anonymous, how much of that was connected to your work and that you wanted to kind of do your freedom with this fetish type thing and have that positioned away from who you really are? Like, was that a something that you? I mean, you obviously thought about it, but did you think of that as a necessity, or was just a just in case type thing?
It was kind of a necessity within the theme of just the secrecy of it. It's more fun. It's a game, honestly.
Mm,
Just like it's more serious. It's like nobody really knows what I actually look like unless they've been privy to actually meet me, kind of thing. And it's just more fun. There's no real explanation behind it. There's these arts and this character that creates them, and that's kind of it. And it's fun to have that as like a bit of a different side of myself where it's free from the traditional constraints that I would have, or like doing some of this stuff can close some doors for other clients that I would potentially
right.
have as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and it is really fun to see how it's received well, because especially with Instagram accounts, they do exceptionally well when the content is catered to a specific demographic over time, or versus if you change up what you're posting a lot of on Instagram all the time, like you start losing people, etc. So like I'm going to
Mm,
just only do kind of photos on this account, and
yeah.
that's kind of been the thing that I've been doing for a few years. Um, and I don't know, it's fun because it's like, especially with this stuff, it's like wearing masks and gas masks and all kinds of fun things when you're even going out and socializing. So it's like I'm going out in real life, pre COVID, but dressed up in all this crazy stuff and like nobody knowing who I am, and it's just very, I don't know, it's just very like liberating in some sort of
Mm.
way. Just like you don't really feel as like maybe necessarily like self conscious or something. It just is like almost like a Dumbo feather in some kind of way of like you can do the thing that you couldn't do previously. So it's kind of fun to explore that.
Yeah, I completely get that. Yes, in terms of the anonymity portion, because there's branding, and it kind of gives you a chance to do kind of, well, multi-brands, which is an interesting thing too. I mean, I myself have dark rainbows, which pops out once in a while, and I only take him out when I'm feeling like a little bit jokey, or if I want to talk kind of shit coins and go under the bridge, and just kind of like stuff around and swear a little more. So it's funny how when you put on that different persona, you can kind of like be an actor in a way, but really it just releases your inhibitions a little bit to a totally different
Mhm.
side of things. So that's really cool. I completely get that. So on that note, let's have a dive into kind of one of your NFTs, because
Yeah, sure.
yeah, I mean this one here is probably the most popular, right? In terms of all that
Yeah,
that that, that
this
I've
one's
seen.
like a yeah, this is a 100 actually, and I kind of did that to celebrate or commence the gallery opening that I did in Decentraland because in February I bought my first 2x2 in here, and I just wanted to have like some cheap ones. These were like $69 worth ether at the time, and I was like, okay, 69 bucks. I'm gonna put these up. There's 100 of them. If people like this enough, that's like cheap enough, whatever. And I did some one of ones as well, and it was cool because I sold everything out within the first week, and I've sold like 30 of these ones so far, and I don't know. It's just interesting to try to introduce this sort of content into this space where a lot of people may not be familiar with this type of imagery,
Yeah.
or falling down these rabbit holes to see these kind of things.
Yeah,
It's kind of, like yourself, you might not have been exposed to
definitely
this
not.
before. For me to like show this to you and see what you think, or like to get people's opinions, and it's been pretty well received in the space, which is nice.
Yeah. So this is what I know. When I looked at this for the first time, it definitely made me uncomfortable because I'm not familiar with it. Now,
Hmm.
but I knew I was turned on, but at the same time, it's not anything that I've ever done in real life. So,
Hmm.
and this is what art is, right? It's supposed to stretch you in terms of your open-mindedness, good or bad, but to kind of be able to go there mentally. And so for me,
Yeah.
I'm kind of looking at this thing going, okay, she's being tied up. I've never done anything sexual like this in real life. Um, I'm assuming you have, and you don't have to say if you don't want to,
Once or
but
twice, yeah, totally.
yeah. So you've totally gone in and put, have you any do you wear it yourself, or is it more you
Oh
prefer
yeah,
prefer the
just
person that you're with?
definitely. Definitely, it's a whole lot of fun. All of it's a lot of fun. I like all sides of it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, fantastic. Because I mean, I haven't even experimented with anything in the bedroom in terms of sexual equipment, vibrators, dildos, whatever you kind of like, let
COVID
alone,
was a great time where a lot of people seem to be jumping into these new hobbies and stuff, and
yeah.
my partner laughed in the background at that one. So she's my partner is the one that's in this photo, and so this example of a photo is like, oh, we're gonna hang out with some friends this weekend
Yeah.
and make some art, and like we hung her up in the studio and lit her nicely, and dressed her up, and
Yeah.
a friend was in town that's particularly good with rope because the rope stuff is particularly dangerous if you don't know how to do it
Mm,
correctly, and
yeah.
people because circulation and things, and like just making sure like it can be very dangerous, especially in suspension. Like her full weight is supported by those ropes.
Yeah.
Um, so it's kind of like different levels of skill within things, and you have people from that are your side of things that haven't ever done anything,
No,
but like
I
you see this
haven't.
like, oh, that's curious. Like I could
Uh,
see why that maybe is appealing to people.
I mean,
There's yeah,
I mean,
people that are veterans.
yeah, you guys are the veterans. So where did it start? Like, surely
Oh
it's
god.
like anything where you kind of start low and then you work your way up, you work your way up. Probably, porn is probably the
Yeah,
best
it's
thing
like
where you
kind of
kind of
going down
start
a
with
rabbit
something.
hole, I would
Yeah,
say.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I mean that's what sex is you're not what are you saving it for, right? I mean, if you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s,
Mhm.
whatever, I mean, it's not this doing this, your partner doing this at, 70 plus, 60 plus is going to be pretty damn dangerous, right? You could break a hip. So if you're going to do it, then
There's a lot of
do it.
people that
Like,
are within the scene that are of different age groups and things, and I feel like commenting on that, for me the hardest thing to sometimes see is when there's people that like haven't done any of these things and they've wanted to
yeah,
their entire life, and it's only at that point that they start to try to do that and be themselves and explore that stuff, and that's I mean, I've seen you have all kinds of different demographics within this actual scene, and it's very cost prohibitive actually for younger people because these outfits are very expensive. Most people in their 20s are not going to be able to go shell out like $1,000 to go get an outfit that like not breathable. You get really sweaty in it, and like it's not
right,
very practical, and it's kind of
yeah,
delicate, and there's a
right,
lot to it. But there's just like a certain like sensory feeling of it that's very enjoyable.
yeah.
It's like, yeah, just like it's very sensory related
Well,
things.
what do
It's
they
I
feel
would say
like?
the
Is
biggest
it on the outside? It's
it's
like
it's not wet to it, but it's like it feels like a condom. I guess it's
feels
just
like a
it's
condom.
latex. It feels like a rubber glove. It's literally that, but you're wearing it all over. It's just like legging. It's skin tight. It's just it's definitely a weird sensation. Like you're getting hugged everywhere at once, and just
Mm,
and it's really nice, and just like if someone touches you through it and stuff, it feels really nice. It's a whole process. It's kind of like a ritualistic experience. The whole like, it's just not normal things of like, hey, we're gonna go do this, wham bam, thank you, ma'am. 10 minutes
yeah.
later or whatever the fuck. Versus like it's kind of more of a lengthy process, and you know whatever kind of thing. And it's honestly, it's like about everything but the actual sex, I would say, to some degree. Like you don't necessarily need to have sex within any of this stuff. It's like you can be enjoying yourself without like objectively just fucking, I guess. But
I mean,
yeah.
I would like to enjoy one of these things before I need a Viagra, right? I mean, that'd be ideal. And then, but you're telling me you just kind of, well, it's a Friday night, honey. Let's just go and grab a wine and sit on the watch some Netflix in these outfits. Like, I mean,
Yeah, I know plenty of friends that do that have done that too. It feels good.
that's hilarious. But
Fun too.
I mean,
Yeah, for the
to me,
party.
it's hilarious. Like,
Yeah. Well, maybe for the parties back before COVID, we'd have parties in LA where we'd have like 30 people show up all dressed like this, and it was mandatory dress code and like
yeah,
that. And it was fun because it's like here we are all drinking champagne and eating snacks and like all dressed up, and everyone that kind of collectively enjoys doing that, having a good time, being like accepted for who they are and not like feeling judged by people. It's kind of great.
yeah. No, that's great. definitely the whole non-judgment aspect for sure. So, wh what do you think it is that makes this a turn on? I mean, there's no denying that having the rope tying up, your partner, and then kind of having your way with them in a sense, and it's a turn on for both partners involved,
Hmm.
right? It's consensual, that type of thing. Like, why do you think that that's arousing, like being tied
I
up?
don't know. I mean, just certain things are, different people fetishize different things. I mean, if you ever saw Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman in
True.
Batman Returns, I'm
Yeah.
sure that made you feel some sorts of ways. And like, I don't know why, but like, oh, hey,
I don't
just
know.
very, like, I mean, I feel like that was a genesis for a lot of people, just seeing the character that was. This is like this crazy girl that was like in love with Batman with the whip and all these things, and just the character that she was.
Yeah.
Well, it was just like different kind of energy that they had there between them, and there's just like a certain I don't know. There's definitely a certain kind of energy that's there. That's the kind of unique to that situation.
Yeah.
And then when you truly enjoy that with someone that was like, it's as with any game, it's more fun to play it with other people that want to play the game and enjoy playing the game. So
Yeah. I wonder how much of that is from our own kind of human ancestry, where, men, there was a time when men could just grab women as we like and just have sex with
yeah,
them and then move on. And then, that was
it doesn't
the
work so
male
well
part of the
these days.
species. And then the female part of the species is that they're, back then they really didn't have a choice, right? Because, well, we know why. And I wonder if that's just in our DNA to a degree, where it's just men like to ravage and women like
Well,
to
I
be
feel like it's just
ravaged.
more of that's a more of a and I mean it's also there's the other way around with some people too. I mean it's just not only that way. I feel like you have every single side of every spectrum that you could be where it's like yes, there is some sort of primal instincts or something of like that desire
Mm,
and stuff and but I feel like within today's modern society, you have a lot of things where like some people like enjoy role reversals, or you'll have like that show Billions, where you have like the big billionaire that has like he has the girl that's doing all the mean things to him, and he likes it because it's interesting because it's a lot of it I would say is about a balance of power within these things, and so you
yeah,
have the
definitely.
traditional like those big company executives that are like whatever that are in all submissive and stuff, and it's like they need to have some balance in their life. If you're like a CEO of a major corporation and you have stressful decisions all day and all these things, like maybe it's nice to just like not have to make a decision for a period of time and just I don't know, just kind of like give in to something else for a period of time. And I feel like it helps like bring some sort of balance to life within enacting this, where if like you have other parts of life that are not so much.
Yeah. Nah, I think that's totally what it is. We always crave balance, whether it just doesn't matter whatever it is. And in this case, it's power and then being submissive. Um, and I'd like to let's come out back to the table for a
Sure.
minute. Um, you know, I was looking at the rubber doll name that you've claimed over here,
Hmm. Yeah.
after I kind of not Facebook stalked, but NFT wallet stalked you, and I found this name, and it kind of made me think like human beings as desiring sex, right? Because we don't do it because for reproductive purposes anymore,
Hmm.
and
Wow.
well, we don't have
Mm.
to. And
Yeah.
it's funny because when I was here putting up your NFTs, I had someone just randomly come in, and I got to talking with her, and she went through the whole IVF thing, and three of her friends went through IVF as well. And so it kind of made me think like, you know, where do you think we're going as a species, as a human species, where
I mean,
sex
I feel
can,
like we're careening towards extinction as a species, but
mm,
overall, we've overpopulated the entire planet, and we're just completely gouging it of all of its resources in an unsustainable way. And so, I feel like personally, we don't really need more people at this point. There's plenty of people. Um, kind of
yeah,
makes more problem with more people. So, like, I'm personally not as interested in having children due to that, because like, what kind of world will we be leaving them? But I feel like you have a lot of people that are kind of, especially in America, everyone that, that whole American dream of the boom is, you gotta go to college and then you gotta go get a house and a family and a job and settle down and have a couple kids, and then, little Johnny and little Susie gotta go to school, and then they gotta go to college, and then they gotta get the kid. It's just like that cycle. And I feel like collectively, we have, because a lot's changed in the last like 60 years, with a lot of things really having changed since the Second World War. But I feel like there's collectively a more people that are not buying into that American dream of like, you got to go do all of these things to have a good life. I feel like a lot of people are kind of just choosing to do what they want to do, enjoy the life that they have, and not necessarily um, I don't know. We just have to unfortunately be stuck with something that's not really great. I don't know how to describe it other than that.
But I mean, I mean, in the first world, we're quite reasonably affluent, right, compared to those in the third world. So,
Of course,
and
yeah.
if you've got a certain, let's just say that we're affluent. Um, so raising a family isn't a financial concern, right? Yes,
Oh,
yes.
huge financial.
I just want to make sure that we
Yeah,
position this correctly, because I don't want it to
yeah,
seem
yeah,
like
yeah.
we're spoiled and arrogant, that type of thing. We just have to go with the
No.
train of thought. Let's just assume that you've got the means to raise a family. So if that
Hmm.
is not an issue, is for you personally not raising a family because you are afraid of the impact that it has on Earth itself?
I feel like just for how my life is and the what I do within life, that I would not necessarily be in the proper position for such things, and it's sacrifices that I'm just unable to make for another person, because when you bring someone else into this world, your priority becomes for them at that point, and I'm just it is,
Mm.
yeah, I like being selfish. My girlfriend just said, but it's like you could enjoy
Oh,
things. Kids are expensive, I feel, and they're a lot of work. I feel like they're like luxurious pets for rich people at this point, like French
yeah,
bulldogs, where they're like very annoying, tiny, drunk versions of yourself that you're forced to take care of for around 18 years on minimum.
yeah.
Um, and it's like it's a lot. I feel like it's a lot, and I don't know. I just personally don't feel like that of interest to me. It's like not a desire where some people, they see a baby and they want the baby. I see a baby and I'm like, oh, it's a baby. Ooh. That's how I feel about that. So
Right
it's
now,
not
yeah,
like you saw a picture, you felt uncomfortable. I see a baby, I feel uncomfortable. Like I don't like that. They smell, they
yeah,
cry, they do things. Like I don't need to deal with that. Like, I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah. Cool. No, that's great. And I mean, we're all entitled to feel one thing today and then change our minds later. But at this point in
Mhm.
time, sex for you is purely a
For fun, yeah.
pleasure, for fun. Yeah,
Until
for fun.
emotions overweigh logic, I guess it's or not
Yeah,
emotions, but the hormones overweigh logic. I mean, that's how where I'm at right now, at least. And
yeah.
who knows where that will be in the future? But I mean, that's the beautiful thing about this. Like, I'm into things now that I wasn't 5 years ago. Like, you just
Yeah,
kind of grow and evolve as an individual, and like within exploration, and also when you find partners that you can explore with, or a community that you could be a part of, and really start to learn more, because I feel like a lot of people originally are curious, then it just takes like learning from some people that know better to come be a part of that community. I feel like that's more of an interest, honestly, is that's the kind of family that I would rather be a part of, honestly.
yeah. Okay. I'm just going to type down a note here for sex robots, because I absolutely want to talk to you about that, but I didn't want to forget it. And I want to talk to you about hentai and tentacles and Japan and all this type of stuff for sure. Because I mean, I'm looking at your waifu NFT over there, and there's
Well,
no
that was,
denying that
yeah,
that's a turn on as well, even though it's just an illustration.
I know I got a
Um,
cut. That was quite awesome.
all right, well let's
Was it
go. Let's go
inspired
over that.
by the DCL, the other piece we were looking at? It was actually a little inspired. It's kind of the same outfit and thing.
Yeah, I mean, you got the mask. Um, this one you can just exaggerate the curves a little more. For some reason,
Mm.
when the women's knees are bent in like that, it exaggerates
Mhm.
the butt, and it's just like super, super sexy.
Corset
There's
as well, it always
no
helps. Yeah.
denying it. Um, I mean, have you ever been to Japan?
I have not been to Japan. I have some amazing friends over there that have invited me, and I have not been able to visit since the
Hmm.
pandemic. But I would love to go do that sometime in the next year or so. That'd be amazing to do that.
Yeah, but I mean, but you're across all their, you know, they're like a. I mean, I've never been there myself, but from what I know, they're a reserved people. Yes, extremely
Hmm.
polite, disciplined, honor, that type of thing. I mean, we see samurais and bonsai
They're
trees
also
and all
very
that.
fetishized culture as well.
Yeah, very, and so it has to come out. And before we were talking about balance of power and
Hmm.
submission, and for them, if they're somewhat repressed, then it comes out. And if you haven't seen hentai, I know what that is, and I'm not going to Google it for you, but you can go and look at it, and it's
Never
just
heard of it.
anime or heard of it. Yeah, yeah. So it's basically,
Yeah.
and this is what this makes me think of. Like it's cartoon porn, basically.
Hmm.
And while that can be done, absolutely tastefully, they've got these like monsters and tentacles and
Got some
kind of
wild.
beasts. They got some like you can really push the imagination, and that's what comes out when you kind of repress a culture. It comes out another way, and it just. But also, kind of when you're in the act of having sex, it's one of the places where you can kind of lose yourself if you do it properly,
Hmm.
and you can become an
And I
animal.
mean, yeah, and speaking of, cultures and things, I'd feel like Europe and like especially Berlin is one of the most like biggest cities for this kind of culture where it's like I'd say Berlin is one of the most sexually liberated cities on the planet. And that's like more of my like I'd rather go out clubbing in Berlin than anywhere in the United States, honestly.
Okay, I've never been to Berlin. I've been to France as far as I've
It's a
gone.
crazy, amazing city. France is beautiful as well. I really like it there.
Yeah, yeah. But Berlin, you reckon, is the most kind of sexually, or one of the most sexually liberated kind of
Easily, yeah.
human consciousness? Yeah.
There's even a huge
Why?
event there. I feel like they just with that city has gone through a whole lot of things in the last 60 years or more. Just that there's
Hmm.
a lot of things that have happened in Berlin where there's a whole lot of people that were forced to be a certain way. It's just like they feel more liberated and free than they previously did in their past. That country. I would say
Right.
overall. And there's like some of the biggest events. Yeah, Germans are like they are definitely they're the ones with the word fuck. I think we recently found this out that the word fuck is like a Germanic. That like the origin of the word fuck is a Germanic thing for like breeding things or something. It's like fush,
Oh,
like something like related is like
push
the
and
whole thing. So
fucking.
they just have yeah, like basically, they have like a very interesting culture with that. But like, I mean, there's like an event that we go to, like German Fetish Ball or whatever, and it's like a week long thing of like all the people dressed up like in this, but like 1,500 of them in a warehouse by the river, Berlin,
Yeah.
and like in just crazy outfits. It's like all, and it's just kind of almost like sometimes when we're running around to Decentraland with all the crazy outfits rolling up, it's just like all these people wearing wild things that you would never see wearing them like anywhere else, and it's just really like crazy to be a part of it. It's kind of fun.
Yeah. And I mean, that's a great segue into the whole metaverse sexualized thing. I'll just make our way back. So, I mean, so it seems like from the conversation that I've seen so far, it's people do want to be sexual, but there just needs to be some kind of liberation occurring to the consciousness, to the mind. And in this case, we've said German people have been through a lot, so they kind of don't hold anything back. Whereas with the Japanese culture, they're more reserved, and so it has to come out in this anime type of scenario. And then we have the metaverse here, which Decentraland at the
Hmm.
moment I don't think is overly sexualized at all. Of course, there needs to be some, because
Yeah.
if we don't, we've learned that it's just going to come out in some other way. So it's important to have some of it, and that's definitely how I see you, right? You're the endeavorer of this sexualized portion of the metaverse, at least for Decentraland. And I remember one time we joked about you being the Hugh Hefner of Decentraland, but XXX type thing.
Yeah,
Um,
right.
but were you ever around in the whole Second Life scenario? And did you see that evolve into this world that became overly sexualized?
I honestly was not a huge person on that. I had tried it out a few times, but over the last several years, I've been really focusing on career-related things, and most of my gaming in my youth was limited to like Xbox-related things or RuneScape, which was like an MMO that was just if anything anybody knows about that, that is just it will consume so much time, but it's entertaining to some degree. But so I didn't really do that, but I've heard of the issues that Second Life had in its infrastructure and its centralization, and where it ultimately had its shortcomings, I suppose. It was a great precursor to this metaverse that we're in now, where I feel like they've taken what was wrong with that and they've improved upon it. And you even have the guy that created Second Life that's like a huge proponent of this space, which is like a telling thing for me. And I like that it's all powered by the Ethereum blockchain, and I like that you can actually own land and it's a decentralized platform, and that like I could be able to do what I'm doing in here. And I'm sure there's going to be people that will come and do like raunchier things than me. I'm trying to like brand myself as like tasteful, more erotic, artistic things versus like sexualized things where,
Yeah.
people that like stuff may want to have it, or like, the wearables. Like I'm working on having some like wearable GIMP suits that you'll see running around in here at some point, hopefully. And fun other outfits, and I'm planning on making the wearables have like special access to events that we'll be hosting. That'll be like you have to be wearing the wearables or have the wearables to come to the event kind of a thing, and make it more of a fun kind of interactive experience. And I mean, it just there's so much potential, I feel. And also I'd have to say with other platforms such as like Instagram in particular, there's I swear to God, it's like every day I know someone on there that got their account deleted out of nowhere, and it's just like
Hmm.
you know and with no nudity. Even it's just like the images that I post, there's no nudity. There's not a single like I don't like no, I don't even show the ankles. There's just no nudity whatsoever. And it's like frustrating when then Halsey posts her like boob out and gets 5 million likes, or like other major celebrities are able to do things then other people do them, and then they get banned and deleted and like all these things. And so it's there's a growing censorship on the internet, like whereas like Tumblr used to be a great rabbit hole to fall down. And they bought the company for $1 billion,
Yeah.
Tumblr. And then
That
by
is
the
crazy.
time they put content on it, they turned it into $3 million. So that was the best way to lose $1 billion I've ever seen, and also destroy a decent platform for this stuff. But someone really didn't like it enough and they did that. But it's just kind of but even Tumblr, I mean, Tumblr was a very safe haven for years with that, and then all of a sudden they just completely like rug pulled everybody that had built up accounts and things, and everything is like it's not even worth really going on the platform anymore, honestly, because like a lot of people's stuff is just gone. Like most of the posts are all hidden now, just because everything gets filtered by algorithms and things. So for this kind of work, I was concerned about the longevity of being able to display it in a digital space. And so my biggest appeal was being able to have a place to showcase it and champion it, and not have it be able to be taken down by some centralized authority
Yeah.
at some point, as things get more and more controlled and censored by all these other places. And I feel like that opens a whole interesting debate of, where is the limit of what's allowed? Because, like with, OpenSea or other platforms, hiding or not showing certain NFTs or content, like, say a sex worker makes an NFT that you buy the NFT, you get an unlockable porn video or something like that.
Mm.
I feel like there's a lot of people that are like sex workers trying to come into this space, but everybody that's like, I don't know, I just feel like they're not really getting received or welcomed by the community in any sort of way, because it's like a tricky thing, because you have decentralization, and like sure my stuff is more artsy geared, but you could have some people that are posting very dark things that are just like they could be posting some very bad things. And so that's the tricky thing, is like you do need some sort of moderation, but how much do you need or not, or like what is like, because imagine if someone came in and did a bunch of child pornography, that would be
Yeah.
terrible.
Mm.
But in a decentralized space, in theory, they should be able to do something like that, which would be obviously a bad thing. So it's like kind of right now, it's just like, where is the line on things, or like where are things? And OpenSea with like the crypto funks, they took the project down, and they kind of showed that they were a centralized authority. But then, the funk people argued that like they're a derivative art because it is different and it is a decentralized space. And people, it's like it is very different. Nobody that's buying one of them is thinking that is an actual crypto punk or whatever. So it's an interesting topic of debate, as well as all the legalities of things. So it's kind of I don't know, it's a minefield.
Oh yeah, and that takes us to the whole open source thing as well, and how much are you allowed to go and take something and essentially fork it? It's essentially what crypto funks have done. I actually don't know too much about it. I only heard about it this morning, but I mean that's a
Hmm.
whole nother podcast, I think. And
Yeah.
well, let's see how we go. Maybe we go down that rabbit hole, but I want to try and keep the topic to.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
so
no,
we were
but I was
talking
just
about,
using that as an example of centralized authority
yeah.
having
So
ability to sense things within this space more
yeah,
than anything.
I mean, we
Yeah.
definitely need some kind of decentralization. Yeah, okay, you could easily argue there's some centralization as well that's needed, but you know, um, so what do you think are the signs of it being too much? I mean, if you wanted to, or if I wanted to, I could put up a big picture of, a, a, a big dick, right, just next to me, or
Hmm.
someone could do it, and my neighbor could do that if he wanted to. I don't want him to, but I would protect his right to do it, and I would hope that the community would frown upon that behavior, but it's allowed to do it. So it's like it's and for you, like I mean, you haven't done that. You could have, but you've made it much more tasteful.
Yeah.
So um, although if you did put up like just straight nudity, then you might get a bit of attention as well. But I mean, why do you think people in Decentraland like aren't doing that? Like, why aren't they just coming up and putting up nude pics everywhere and instead wanting to um, make it a bit more tasteful? Like,
I don't know. I
what?
mean, I feel like there's a lot of people that are mainly in the NFT space for the artistic side of things, and most of the people that own land in Decentraland might not be of the inclination to be doing what you just mentioned.
Yeah.
Uh, it seems like a lot of effort to go through the trouble of getting land to just do that, with it. I'm
Mm,
sure that will happen at some point. I feel like a great way to handle that, though, ultimately, I mean, I do believe that it should be a decentralized platform that people can post what they would like to. I feel like it would be nice that if you were able to maybe have a filter or something that, like, your avatar in your wallet, like, say, you have kids coming on in Decentraland in the future, you don't want them seeing like a gigantic photo of genitals or something, but it's like
yeah.
you would make be able to have like a parental control thing where like that kind of content gets flagged as mature content, or like it's supported as mature content, and then people have a filter, or like someone could set up a filter that if you don't want to see those things, it would just populate as like a red circle with an X through it or something. You could make maybe that be a thing where you could filter the content that you are receiving, based off of like a level of what you're comfortable with ultimately.
Yeah.
um,
And then maybe
because I
that's. Sorry, you go, man.
go on.
I was just gonna say,
Um,
no, you go, you go, you go.
Canadian Showdown. But
Too
yeah, I,
nice.
I feel like just I don't know. It's a tricky thing because I feel like people should have the ability to post what they want, or like say like Pornhub comes here and they make a Pornhub scene, and it's just like straight up Pornhub clips, like, and you own the
Yeah.
Pornhub. Or maybe if like a place like Pornhub was smart about it and made it like, okay, we're gonna have a big Pornhub estate, and then you got to go buy the Pornhub NFT for the building to show up.
Mm.
I think that would be a good way of doing that or something.
Yeah,
I don't
no, I
know.
think that's a great idea. Definitely. I mean, we have Playboy here, and that's open to everyone. But maybe if it did become like a
Or not.
Pornhub, we should. I think we should welcome them because if they don't come here, they'll just go somewhere else. And we also spoke about repression. So if we repress it, then that can create a whole nother kind of thing.
Yeah, and I feel like like companies such as them can set a precedent for others where I think like tokenized access to that kind of content would be more of an appealing route where nobody could see it, but like, oh, you want to see what's there? It's just like a mysterious, like, oh, what is this? Like, you need to go buy this NFT to go and look at the Pornhub building. What is in there? I feel like that
Yeah.
would be more of a appealing way to do it versus just like, bam, here's a big building, enjoy your porn. I feel like that'd be
Yeah.
not the way to go about that, but like maybe have the NFT be like some sort of membership to get to go there, or like say there's a content creator on that platform that you own their NFT and you could see it or something like that if you own their thing. I feel like there's like a room for this kind of thing in here, but it's just not really been implemented yet.
Mm.
But you
Yeah,
know,
and it's definitely the monetization aspect of it that makes it interesting for Decentraland. I mean, we're on the internet, right? So you're only a click away from a Pornhub website itself. But then for some reason having it inside Decentraland helps to monetize it and make some kind of commerce. And that's what I mean, maybe that's what the community is right
try
now.
it, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this
Because I feel like
community,
this is ultimately a social media platform, in my opinion. Like, I feel like this is more interesting than a traditional website, because conventionally we've interacted with the web in a two-dimensional since the 90s, so the two-dimensional scrolling with a mouse on a screen to swiping with your finger on a phone now. It's eventually going to be going to VR headsets and the whole metaverse that everyone's talking about. Like, there was just an
yeah,
article in the Times about like, are we in the metaverse yet? And it's just I feel like it's a new way to interact with it where like, you're in a different part of the world. Here we are in a gallery with someone standing on top of a watermelon now, but like looking at the work at the same time in real time with our avatars. We have a few friends of ours that have come in and saw that we were here and have like jumped into where we are in your gallery, and it's I think it's just a really incredibly unique way to showcase and present something. It's just like three-dimensional MySpace. You could fill the box like a diorama with whatever you want. You know.
yeah. I mean, I'm definitely of the wavelength as you, where I just think that there'll be a paradigm shift from people going into the metaverse. I mean, the journey is, of course, through a website, but then as people realize what Decentraland is, like maybe this is just the new norm. Um,
Mm.
and I kind of can't wait for that to happen. And the whole virtual
And it,
reality thing's cool as well.
yeah, I was gonna say it also works in an untraditional way to like Google search, where everyone's for the last like 20 years has spent so much time on SEO and they want to get to be the first page of Google because the Google is important. But it's
Yeah,
interesting because you might not have ever found my picture with the rope suspension on the internet previously or had seen that kind of stuff, but you running around Decentraland or coming to the casino auction that I did some of the pieces in and stuff, it's like it was a new way to introduce people to something that they might not have been knowing they were looking for or for trying to find, and maybe they see something new that makes them think about things. That's kind of the fun thing about this space.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
Even
It
yourself,
just,
you wouldn't have necessarily gone and Googled, like, tried to look up a photo like that on the internet, but you see it and you're like, huh, that's like, there's something to this, maybe, and then who knows what you go and do with that?
it's
Maybe
kind
you
of,
go on an adventure and it inspired you, and that's great. And then that's ultimately
hmm,
what I want out of any of this is that people can maybe go discover something about themselves if they
yeah.
so feel it.
That
Yeah.
that's definitely what happened. I mean, your artwork has prompted me to want to have the conversation rather than just shut it out for the sake of wanting to, well, take myself too seriously. So, on that note, I definitely want to, yeah, just dive deeper into it. Yeah, no, man,
Curiosity is powerful.
yeah, it is, it is. Curiosity killed the cat. I mean, let's have a look at the other NFT as well over here. I mean, you've got a,
Stinky
yeah,
Bored Ape.
yeah, Bored Ape. I mean, was this coincidentally just did it just had that hat on and you were like, I have to have that,
No, I
or was it?
specifically wanted one with that hat on, and then I particularly chose this one because if you notice, my beautiful little eyes in Decentraland here are glowing yellow robot eyes. Um,
Let's have a look. Let's stare into them. They are too. Yeah.
Amazing.
Let me see. I'm gonna change the hat. Oh god, I have so many wearables in this wallet. Oh, hold on a second. Where's the damn
But I mean,
hats?
this like, were you part of the group that designed this at all, or is it more just
I was not a part of the group, however, I really like the community that they have within there. Where, like, Snoop Dogg, for instance, he's like, "Oh, whoever sends me mine, it better be all gold." And they were like, "Nah, Snoop, it doesn't work that way." They made him a GoFundMe so he could afford one.
I haven't
Just
heard
the
that.
energy of that is just so, like, it's so funny to me and amusing. Of like, I like the collective energy of the group. These pieces, they were dropped a few months ago at like 0.08 ether, and there was like a 10,000 of them, like kind of like the crypto punks of generative avatars, where there's like a couple hundred that have this hat, but that was kind of like the one thing. I was like, if I'm actually going to buy one of these, I wanted to have the S&M hat just because of my branding.
Yeah,
Uh, but it's a very cool community, and it's just like I have it as my profile picture on Twitter and things. But it's just kind of also signifies that I feel like if you have it on Twitter, it's like a badge that's like, okay, you're in the NFT space, you kind of know what's going on. You got like one of these things. There's 4,500 people that have these right now. I know there's like a yacht club that's coming to Decentraland, actually. That's going to be like tokenized access of like the Bored Ape Yacht Club. Like, you're going to have an ape to go into the club, kind of thing.
yeah,
And so that's kind of like exclusivity and whatnot. But I kind of liked it, and I figured that it wouldn't be a bad investment. And I'm already getting bot offers for thousands more than I paid for it. So it's
yeah,
just those are bots offering on it all the time on algorithms, because it's like investing into things. But I don't know. It just seemed like a decent purchase. It was a little more than I would have liked to have spent on it, but it is what it
mm.
is.
Yeah. I mean, we all
Oh,
kind of like our different things. I mean, you own all types of NFTs, but I mean, speaking of NFTs, like, there are some projects that fail, and there are some that become really, really successful, and it might not
sure.
necessarily be because of the artwork itself. I mean, what do you think makes an NFT desirable? Right?
I would
Or,
really
or
have to say, for me, what makes it valuable is I like to know more about like who created it. Like I'm particularly interested in like either the utility of it, the community with it, who created it, the energy of the thing. There's a lot of projects that feel very money grabby.
yeah,
They're trying to do this, like, where this project in particular, the CryptoPunks was the original one in 2017, but like if you want a CryptoPunk right now, it's at least $40,000, and that's kind of a
crazy.
little out of everybody's price range unless you were early into crypto. But then these were kind of cool because they came out and they were only zero point 0.8 ether, 0.08 or whatever, which is like couple $100 at the time to get one of them. And you're able to mint them this year, and then it's kind of taken a cult following and really taken off and inspired several other of these generative projects that have not done as successfully until like the cool cats are doing pretty well, it seems. But like there was these like I'm a degen, and then like gutter cats, and now gutter rats, and then there's bulls, and then there's now elephants, and like and I don't know, like even the elephant thing, like I feel like they said that they're going to donate $50,000 once they reach like half a goal or whatever. But then I looked at their website and I look for anything else, and like there's no other mention of donating anything beyond that to the thing. And so they're trying to advertise that like donating money to save like elephants, but it's like a one-time donation, and then they're just going to pocket all of the secondary sales indefinitely after that. And so like I don't know, I don't like that much versus like these Bored Apes. They airdropped everybody a dog, and they've donated like several $100,000 US to like animal shelters and like canine shelters.
Yeah,
Since then, 100%. They've given 100% of the commission from the secondary sales of them to charity, and it's like very
really.
easily documented and straight up and upfront.
Mm,
So I liked that. And then they're bringing it to the metaverse. There's like hoodies that are in here now for Decentraland for the club. And the community around it's going to be a lot of like I feel like tokenized access use in the future. It's not kind of same with the meta key. That's another interesting one where like I invested in the meta keys because I like the idea of the utility like across the metaverse. If you have this, you get special airdrops, you get into special clubs, you get into like certain discords, and it's just kind of cool the utility of like membership. It's like a Soho Club kind of thing or whatever, where like people pay for that in LA to have a fancy workspace, but it's like a different version of that that's more appealing to me, at least.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a Medikey as well, the third one. I'm not sure if I don't think I knew about
Thematic
them.
one.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. What was his name? Sorry, Matic. Yeah,
Marco, he's a
yeah.
friend of mine. He's awesome.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I just thought I remember. That's right. I remember you put on the outfit and you looked like a
yeah, I have
birdie.
his outfit. Yeah, the
Yeah, no,
bird
that.
and like. Oh, here, I'll put it on right now. Let's see.
Yeah, let's do it. I've got one of those, but I don't have the first and second one. I just didn't know that they were around, to be honest. But I
Now
do like the
they're really
concept of it.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
first one was originally 0.2 ether, but now they sold for up to 5.6. So like went from 0.2 to 5.6 over a couple months. So it's just interesting because NFTs are dead or whatever, but then you have that kind of stuff happening, and you know.
Yeah. Were you around when Bitcoin crashed recently from, 60,000 to 30,000? Did you notice
Uh-huh.
what that did to the NFT prices?
I did notice it kind of really I would say not so much the prices, but more so the liquidity of them. Is that a lot of people ended up holding bags of like unvaluable NFTs. But I mean, I also took advantage of the situation. You had a lot of paper-handed idiots that were
Yeah.
getting rid of a lot of things. So I went from having like 10 parcels up to 89 because of China actually having some fear of regulation on Bitcoin was part of why it crashed down. But there was a couple large landowners in China that were like, "I need to get what I can for this now because I might be fucked." And like, I'm like,
Mm.
"Well, I happen to have so much for you if you would like this offer." It's just, and they took the offer, so it's just kind of favorably worked out, for me because I picked up a couple really prime NFTs on the low, or even like Neon Cats, for instance. They dropped down to zero point 0.3 Ether. Some of the sales because people were like, NFTs are dead. I'm gonna sell everything. I'm gonna cash out and get my fiat currency back. And like, oh, versus like those Neon Cats are listed back over 2 Ether now. So it's
Mm.
just kind of like it's just all recovered. And I feel like the biggest thing is just not getting like fear and just dumping everything. And I don't know,
Yeah.
just holding it sometimes is kind of like it's hard to do that with the emotions and get the other projects popping up, and you want to sell something for liquidity to go like jump in this other project, and you have a lot of people that are like trying to come in and buy things that are cheap and then flip them up higher, and it's just I don't know. It's an interesting Wild West, and that's the best way to describe it. Is it's the damn Wild West.
Yeah. So you reckon that, yeah, I mean, definitely some people would have sold. And I mean, the whole fear and greed thing is crazy, right? I mean, you like to think that you buy low, sell high, and it's easy to do in theory, but when I guess, especially when you're first getting into crypto and you buy something and then you see the value of it plummet, it's just such a difficult thing not to sell it. But then that's really, I guess, where the test and your conviction and what you've purchased really comes out, and whether or not you're over leveraged or over invested. I mean, I've always said that if you're losing sleep overnight over something you've purchased or you bought, then you've probably invested too much. So
Yeah,
then, yeah. So then when you buy something, then you kind of just want to hang on to it. And for me, it was I haven't bought too many NFTs. Well, I mean, in terms of um, like from OpenSea, but these bonsai things is something that really captured me, and I know you bought one too, and you introduced it to me, and
yeah,
I kind of don't want this to come across as we're just shilling NFTs because we're not. We're just this is
yeah.
a podcast and a one-to-one podcast, and 100 Rainbows just wants to go into people's personalities and what they like and what they're attracted to, and that's all this is, and it
Well,
just
I
so
like shiny.
happens. What's it?
Yeah, and I mean, as simple as I personally am only interested in purchasing NFTs that I don't mind being stuck with forever.
Yeah,
Like if I like something enough, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm buying it, and I'm keeping it. Like there's not too many things I buy with the intention of flipping, which is kind of I should have bought more of those meta keys and sold some, but like I'm more of the proponent of I'm gonna get mine, I'm gonna have them, and I'm gonna let like other people have a chance to get them, and that's like I don't need to be a part of that. And I have mine, and I'm like not watching the prices of them. I'm just like chilling and have them, and I have the trifecta of the first collectible three, and I'm gonna hold on to that because I know in the future maybe if I believe in Maddie and the people that he's working with, and I really genuinely think that they are going to bring a lot of utility to having these keys. And instead of cashing out for like, I think I could get over $10,000 for all of them right now.
Yeah.
And cost zero point 0.6 ether to buy them all in the first place. If you bought them all at drop time, but I feel like that's going to be a really long-term value project of like, who knows, you have a bunch of other projects that are wanting to work with them and give airdrops like Artifact. They gave a bunch of, they did a drop Decentraland where they came out with some hoodies, some shoes and stuff. But like for the MetaKey holders, they got a special colorway of the shoes that, was inaccessible to other people, and they got them for free. Which was kind of a nice little perk, or like they gave away like a race car helmet from like the Ferrari show or something like that. And it's just kind of like, cool, I got a wearable, and they're getting more people into Decentraland because of that. Because like all of a sudden, these people have the key, or like I have a helmet and who's in my like what is this? Or like the
Mm.
Bored Ape people that hoodies. So like all of a sudden, these people have 3 new NFTs in their wallet of like a hoodie, shoes, and a helmet, and they're like, what is this? And so then they go check out Decentraland for the first time and explore, and I don't know, it's just kind of cool community overall
Yeah.
engagement.
It's definitely a cool community. I'm definitely interested in what they're going to do, and they do. Whoop, let me just turn that off. They do have land in Sandbox as well, so it'd be very interesting to see how they kind of help that transition. I mean, we all know we kind of hope that somehow our wearables transition through multiple metaverses, or even our avatars go through multiple metaverses, and MetaKey, amongst other projects, but MetaKey definitely seem to be, at least for me, be, kind of can give hope to kind of actually making that happen. I mean, the idea is kind of easy to have, but to be able to go and execute on it is a whole nother thing, and I like to see that happen, and they're definitely planning for it, right? So that's pretty exciting. Um, let's go have a look at the 3D models, because I'll put your GLB file
Sure.
of the model upstairs, and I've got mine up there too. Um,
Yeah, and I mean for this project, I kind of saw them come out. I thought they were cool, and then I went and looked through them, and I was like, "Fuck, this one's like cool." And I figured it'd be fun to try putting some files like them into Decentraland, and then just was like, okay, this might be something worth grabbing one of these things, and putting them in there got attention from the actual creator of those NFTs. Wow, your rooftop's looking really nice up here.
yeah, thanks. Yeah, I've got a few pedestals up, so you can obviously imagine what might be able to be done in terms of putting NFTs here. And we'd
Yeah.
like to do something nice. At the moment, I'd like to start this little kind of bonsai garden, because
Hmm.
like with anything, it's got to be what interests me emotionally, or what triggers
Yeah.
me in a good sense. Like with with yours, with your artwork, kind of with the fetish stuff. That's something that I might actually do in real life. Let's just give that a go, and just between you and me, I'll let my partner know.
Hmm.
Maybe on her birthday. But in the meantime, here is or maybe my birthday. Um, but yeah, I mean, these are what the models kind of look like in real life,
Hmm.
and they're just beautiful. Like, I love them. I'm going to go into night mode just for a moment. I'm in day mode
Yeah,
now, and
like you got the L glows. That's cool.
yeah, this is the elder bark, and
Birds moving. Oh my god, I just noticed
yeah,
that.
yeah. I mean, I love the birds. I mean, in Australia, we've got these
Yeah, little magpies.
magpies, and they're
Yeah.
thievy, cheeky buggers, but I kind of like having
But
them
see, there
around.
you go. That is exactly what I was talking about previously. It's like you connected with this piece because it has the birds that you like. They're the little cheeky birds that you have around where you are, and that it just reminded you of that, and it appealed to you on an emotional level that you got these two that had magpies, which might have been a part of the deciding factor of why you wanted these, right?
Oh yeah, it was a huge factor. I mean, these bonsais have different pets, right? So you get a mantis, magpie, bamboo, and something else. and
A rock like I got. Look,
yeah, like a rock, yeah, and
I don't very much,
you
but
know, to
they're there. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, you got the base cover rock. Yeah, you know, you can have a pet rock.
My
That's
pet rock,
fine.
I got four rocks. Don't be jealous. I have four. You have one. It's okay. No, just,
Yeah,
but,
yeah, you got four. Mine are conscious though. um,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but it's funny because the magpies aren't they're a very common property in terms
Mm,
of the pet itself. So if you were just
yeah.
looking at those, it doesn't really add that much value. But for me, it was just like, you know what, that was a priority, magpies, and then I tried to add value around it in terms of the bark. You know, this one's elder
Mm,
bark, this one's gold bark, and if you got fruit, then it's worth a little
yeah.
more and all that type of stuff. And
Mm,
you know, I had my budget and
all,
my limit. So you know, we were talking about before that. You know, I think I invested, I can't remember how much, maybe point 5, point 0.6 and getting 2. But
yeah.
you know, that was an amount that I was comfortable with where, you know, if the price of these NFTs went down tomorrow, that'd be fine because I love these things. Um, but and your NFT is your, how much was your one? I could look it up. I don't have
It
the
was like
link here.
or something. Yeah, it
Um,
was around the same.
yeah.
Like
But
I wanted the floating pot the most because I thought
yeah,
that was neat. I liked the idea of like the flying tree, and that was cool. And
def
those are like a rare pot. Not too many of them have that, or the gold
no.
leaves, and then tiny things. And so I was like, "Ooh, that one's pretty," and it just kind of jumped out more than the rest of them. And there's like 8,888 of the trees, and I could like there was maybe 10 total that were like, wow, just really incredible ones. But a lot of the ones that were like my favorites were already sold or beyond imagination of prices because a few other people might have had similar opinions, unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, these ones have like a cool background as well, where it's like nighttime stars type thing.
Yeah, yeah,
So
I just like that more for some reason. It just looks like nice, and we have a golden neon cat, so it's like the golden thing with it, and it's just kind of thematic, and it's fun because we actually put the tree really big on my land in a couple
yes,
places where the tree is in a bunch of different sizes in the multiple places currently in the metaverse, which is kind of funny.
yeah,
There's a
and you.
Pope booth actually even right now.
Oh, okay. I think I'm not sure if I've got one of those, but I'll have to go and check it out.
Yesterday with Category 5 was DJing. There's a Pope there.
Oh, that's right. I think I do have
Yeah,
one. Cat Five's
yeah,
got one of these bonsai trees as well. And you know what? Let's go down that
exactly.
rabbit hole of open source because, I mean, I was able to go and get your NFT and input it in my property, right? So anyone can
If
kind
I
of
JPEG, I
do
see
that.
you.
What's that?
You screenshotted my JPEG, I see
Yeah,
you.
yeah, I got it. I got it right here. But
Argument, yeah.
you can take mine if you want. They're not well, you know, I like them. But it brings up the whole argument of what's stopping from someone just taking this and putting it on your land, and why isn't it is value as valuable, or you know, is the value diluted type of thing. And you know,
Well, I feel like you don't own it. As simple as that. It's like
yeah,
there's one thing, own it or you don't own it, and it's like you could put it on your land, but you couldn't necessarily like sell it for yourself. I mean, you could advertise someone else's tree, but you don't own the tree technically. This is kind of an interesting factor of that. I mean, you could put any picture up anywhere, but it doesn't mean you own the picture.
yeah, and completely on board with that because. I mean, you go onto the website, you Google images, there's a whole bunch of stuff, but it's tied to a wallet, right? So I guess we understand that. But it's like, why not say this is an actual model, and
Mhm.
I'm sure Zen FT as well are dealing with the issue of and sorry with any kind of creator is dealing with the issue of someone being able to take the file, modify it, sell it type of thing. Like, I mean, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, is someone legitimately allowed to go and do that? Yeah, I mean, legally is another thing as opposed to the behavior being frowned upon. But you know, crypto punks and crypto funks is just another example of, and I think crypto funks are having some success with that. So it's like, you know, is it just a loophole, or is it just something that is just territory that we haven't gone down yet, and we just needs to see what happens?
I would say that turns into an interesting topic of the punks for particular reasons. The IP for them is owned by Larva Labs, the creator of the punks. So like they made the punks as kind of like back in 2017 as like a bit of a jab at the traditional art world. But they maintain the IP of the punk. So like they will send your ass a cease and desist if you use the punk you spent, like if you use the alien punk you spent $12.4 million on to make a shirt on it or whatever and try to market like merchandise with it, you would
Mm,
have Larva Lab send you a cease and desist because they still own the IP for it. You just happen to own it like in your wallet or something. But like
yeah.
I don't know, I really am not as much of a fan of that, and I feel like as part of the unlockable contents of some of these NFTs, you'll see um, a different iteration or growth of this in the future. For instance, the Bored Ape Club, the yacht club, they give you the IP of your ape. You're able to make merchandise with it if you want. You're able to do other things. So, like for instance, I did the hat that my ape was wearing. I thought that was like a cool item that like I technically own the IP of the idea of this ape or whatever that's wearing this hat, and it's like I wanted to make like some kinky wearables, and I thought that would be kind of a fun thing to maybe give away some of them to the other apes in the community that have the S&M hat ape, so they can have a S&M hat in Decentraland as well. But to be able to just provide that. I don't know. It's just kind of fun that like, okay, I had something to start with, I guess, as a wearable, and it's fun because it's like kind of the same hat that my profile picture has, and it's like, I was able to do that without any question because I own the IP of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that more projects that allow that in the future will do well because like you could get some really cool pieces, and
Mm,
then maybe combine them into some kind of new generative art off of that. Like you could maybe combine a few different things and make a new piece and sell it, and like I've seen a few projects coming out that apes have granted usage of their ape's likeness or other things to do with it to the project, because while you own it, whatever you want to do with it works, and then when you sell it, you're grandfathered on what you did while you had it at the time. So that's kind of an interesting thing as well.
yeah. So it's like
Yeah.
when you created the hat, I mean, yes, you own the rights to it, so you can kind of do as you like, but I guess you didn't feel any obligation to go and say, well, I already own the rights, so I don't really need to be asking for permission. I can just
Yeah,
go and
and I
do it.
feel like it's not like I try to make like a Superman outfit or something like that where it's like
Yeah,
a clear IP conflict of like Marvel owns it or something like that. It's
yeah,
not like I'm trying to like do any of those sorts of things. It's more this is a generic item that's definitely within the community of like a daddy hat kind of a thing, and I just thought it'd be fun because everyone seems to like pink and purple and glowy colors and stuff here in the metaverse. Like look at your outfit even.
mm,
To like might as well make one of them pink and have it be a little different with like a gold emissive glowing chain, whereas like the chain is glowing like my sneakers or the leg that I have on right now. You can see
yeah.
the pant
I can
leg with
see
the
that. Yeah,
glowing, but like glowing similarly in night mode, which is kind of fun. Um, but it kind of made a derivative of it, whereas like the original hat and the ape that you saw downstairs was black with a silver chain. But I made a different colorway of it and brought it to the metaverse. And I don't know, just kind of an interesting concept of like taking something from one thing and then making a derivative of it that's like a wearable. And, it's kind of fun.
yeah. No, it is definitely. I mean, very creative and kind of what you've done, making it happen is just so. It's really, really cool. I mean, I myself have been sitting on the idea of 100 rainbows wearable for some time, and I've just been kind of waiting to see what hits me. And I did come out with my own NFTs with the trees earlier, and these bonsais have helped inspired me. So maybe I'll do something in that side of things. We just have to kind of see what happens. I mean, there's definitely the temptation to come out with a coat or some shoes or something like that as well. But
Of course.
well,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll kind of
I'm sure when that idea hits you at some point, you'll. If you, I waited. I feel like a lot of people, as soon as the wearables marketplace was a thing where it's like a lot of people, swear to God, every question from January until the damn wearables maker came out was like, when is the wearables maker coming out?
yeah,
And everyone wanted mint things, and like I swear to God, that was like 90% of the questions in the Discord. Like, when can I make my own wearables? Versus like I do like how they implemented it, but I also feel like there was a rush to that market once it finally opened, and so it kind of got pretty saturated pretty quickly because it was like
Mm,
opened, I think, first day really around Pride Month. It was like kind of like the Rainbow Road Pride Month drop that was kind of signified the genesis of that. Um, and since then, there's been a lot of wearables put out. There's been, some mistakes made on some of them that, it's minted into the blockchain now. Like there is a gigantic
mm.
yellow dome helmet that's named shoes, just kind of like very random item that's like a big happy face helmet named feet shoe because they can't change it. So it's just
Oh
kind of,
no.
yeah, but there's so many like I feel like it's just kind of like I learned from the mistake of others. I was patient with it, and
Yeah.
I hired a great developer to create someone that knows more about Blender than I do, to make something that's like made other quality items in the game. Like he made the jacket you're wearing and stuff, and I was like, I paid him to do it, and then I
Yeah.
bought the GLBs off of him as a one-time fee, and then I submitted them as my own wearable collection and tried to make them be affordable. And yeah.
No, that's great. That's fantastic. And I mean, when you like, I mean, do you want to share what you've got, what plans you have? I mean, you got a lot of parcels. I mean, do you, what are you going to do with them all? Is it just, I mean,
Um,
obviously you're going to do like a business or type thing, and I know that you're lending them out, kind of helping out the Last Slice community, which I'm a part of as well, and who have taught me so much in terms of development. Like I can deploy things and make changes now, which is great. But what are you going to do with it all?
so that's kind of an interesting question because I have I did the math. I have a combined total of 260,000 square feet of space in Decentraland. If you were to take it into real life,
Yeah, I can't even picture it. What's that, a ballpark? I can't even.
I don't know, maybe like a super Walmart or something. I
A
have no
super
idea, but
Walmart, a shopping
or
center.
Amazon. Yeah, yeah. But anyways, as far as that goes, I feel like my main interest right now is I'm working with a Last Slice community, and it's some really great individuals in there that have a great energy of what they're trying to bring here to the metaverse, and it's fun to be able to give them space to play with. And my biggest thing when I first came here is I really wanted land, and I shopped around for land, and it's like quite a commitment to spend on it because I bought my place in February, but it was still like 15,000 US I paid at the time for a 2x2, and it was
Yeah,
60,000 man. This is before the damn bull run, but it's just kind of like,
yeah,
especially when man $1.60, it was just like $7,000-8,000 to buy a single parcel.
yeah. It's funny.
And kind of very cost prohibitive versus you have a lot of people that have talents but not necessarily the means to be able to do creative things or a space to do it. And then in my interactions with several of the people that are large landholders, it's not very easy to get access to a large amount of land or desirable land in terms of location and stuff. There's a lot of undeveloped land in the world that, that's on cold wallets that bought it originally or haven't built on it, or, someone that invested in it on the speculation but doesn't know how to develop anything on it yet. And, I just figured that it would be nice to have something that like I can do whatever I want with it and not necessarily have to answer to anybody else
Yeah,
or give a percentage of something to someone else or whatever. Like I don't have to have some overlaying landlord that is prohibitive where like it's just like that just gets really complicated very quickly versus if you have enough space to like host a music festival if you feel like it. That's just very more appealing to me at least.
yeah. Like you just got the freedom to go and do, well, essentially what you want with it, which is
Yeah.
really, really cool. But it sounds like you still kind of you see value in it. You wanted to buy it. You purchased an amount
Yeah.
that I feel that you're comfortable with holding, but you're still
I
like
own 1/1000th of the map. I thought that was a good place to stop now.
one of 1,000. Yeah, just a nice
Yeah.
round number.
1/1000. Yeah, it's an easy number. Like I don't need to go, next number 1% of that 900 lots. I don't have that kind of money, but
Yeah,
most of
sure.
my crypto portfolio is related to Decentraland currently. I'll have to say that I kind of made some wild moves, and did the whole GameStop thing in January and all that stuff, and like
Oh,
put
right,
most of
right.
it in Decentraland because I genuinely believe that this is going to be a really cool platform. And it's kind of fun that it's like it's the world as you want to make it, and I feel like right now there's not too many. You can make a name for yourself right now, and it's not very hugely established yet. And it's you could really make a name for yourself if you're doing cool things out there in the world of it. And I've been able to connect with some really amazing people and network with it, or several of the people that I work with in my real life that are curious about this, then they trust me with other things, and they trust me with bringing them to here. So I hope to be able to be a bridge, to be able to bring some really incredible talent that I work with, and have them be able to showcase in the space, and be a kind of a community like of that, just being able to support that. And I think that in time it'll be more about monetization and stuff, but like as of now, it's just like I want people to have a good experience. I want them to be wanting to come back, get their Pope, get whatever wearable. Like I made the wearable 69 mana for the hats, and there's only like, whatever. It's just like my pricing is 69 and 420. Like that's where I went.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just
Strategic.
Yeah, I mean, it's more amusing than anything to me. I like the creativity and kind of playing with this space, and the people that I've met within it. I really believe in several of them, and I'm happy to call them friends. And just it feels great to be able to provide something for the community of having like we're gonna do there's a new slices available next weekend. We're going to do a big drop, and we're going to have a big party out on the 49 lot estate. And we're like having our community. We're going to put like a few little buildings of a few of the people we have around and try to showcase some of the work. It's like amazing. It's like I have a big like fairground kind of thing to be able to do that. And I'm sure as the Decentraland engine evolves and stuff, it's going to be really amazing what I'm going to be able to do with the space that I have as this grows.
Yeah. I mean, what I love about Decentraland is that it's removed a lot of the physical aspects, right? So I guess that's the obvious thing where we connect online, and we've been doing that since 80s, 90s. But it's like I think it's really advancing us as a human species because we're able to connect on a conscious level, or where we can just come in and speak to each other, and we're able to test the kind of borders of our minds without the limits of physical location. And I think it's helping us
Mhm.
advance faster because when we think about the previous generations, for them to have this type of conversation, they would have needed to, at the very least, get in the car or a plane or whatever, if to kind of find
Yeah.
like-minded people. But
Hmm.
here, it's like I almost think it's like an evolution of us as a species because we people who come to Decentraland are already of a certain connection, are already of a certain wavelength. And, people coming in are at the moment kind of programmers or artists or kind of commerce driven people who, to at least with my experience, have been able to somewhat make it out in the real world. I don't mean make it like to make $1 million, but to be able to go
Hmm.
through their teenage years and 20s, and go through the temptations of drugs or whatever it is, and to be able to find that and have a balance with it all. So now that you've kind
Hmm.
of gone through your, what do you call it, through your test, your life test of what is the physical world. Now it's a mental one, and we can just go straight gung ho, kind of hit the floor running in terms of what we want to talk about without judgment. And it really, really fascinates me on where we're going to go. Like, what are these people inside Decentraland going to do? And there already is a barrier of entry because you have land. It costs a certain amount of dollars to get in. Yes, it's expensive. It wouldn't have been if you saw it very, very early on, and you had the
Hmm.
vision of what this is. So, rewards to those that get in
Yeah.
early because they're the ones that
That's
take
what
the
I
most
was
risk. They're the risk takers,
Yeah,
so they should get
people
the
were
reward.
buying pieces of. They were buying squares. There was 90,000 squares on a big sheet of graph paper, and people were paying $100 each for them in the beginning of all this, which was like ludicrous for most people to.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like a big map. squares. Oh, I'm going to buy these squares speculatively. Very early investors were rewarded off of their ambitious goals. I mean, mana used to be 2 cents, I think, at the ICO,
Yeah.
and just to $1.65 is pretty impressive.
Yeah, and I mean, it's amazing. I got into, Decentraland when it was around 15 cents. So I have obviously seen
Mm,
some gain, and, that's amazing in itself. And it's not like
yeah,
where people or landowners are necessarily loaded. Yes, okay, some are, but they've just made the right investments. And we know Bitcoin was a dollar at one stage as well, and we all know what it's worth now.
I
So
remember when it was cents,
when it was what? Five,
30 cents.
yeah, I'd never even heard of Bitcoin when it was
My
like 30
friend
cents.
told me when he was mining these things, and then he sold his 800 full bitcoins for $16,000. So I learned never
No,
sell
no, it's
800
hodl.
bitcoins. He got 16,000 for them. He mined them all though.
Yeah, I mean,
He was excited. I remember how excited he was. He sold all his bitcoins. He got 16,000. Like they were never really going
well
to go
done.
higher than that.
No,
Uh,
I mean it's
800
speculative. Yeah,
bitcoin for
poor
bucks.
bugger. But that's why you can't sell it all. I mean,
Yeah.
for me, like I mean, I've learned the hard way that for me, day trading or even weekly trading is a very, very, very difficult thing to do. So
Mm-hmm.
I just kind
Do
of
that.
try to,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, or if you do,
Just
and
eat
obviously
like a can
there's
of passes. Oh my god.
yeah, you just get wrecked when you try. At least I
Yeah.
do. And I'll only say it one time. Just not financial advice. Big disclaimer at the bottom in bold text. Not financial advice. Don't take advice from a guy wearing a pink sex hat, right? And a dude
Yeah.
and a
Yeah. I
dude
would
wearing
not.
wearing a sword.
Yeah.
But it's if you are going to day trade, for me, I put like 90% long-term holding, and then 10% just kind of trading, because
Just watch.
it's fun. It's a little bit. It's gambling. It's that type of thing.
Mhm.
I mean, if you're going to be making trades within a day, I would consider that gambling. But anything like
Yeah.
maybe
For
longer,
mostly getting the crypto or mana or whatever, and I'm using it to like purchase NFTs that I plan to utilize for some purpose. Like
yeah,
the land in particular. I spent a lot of Ethereums and mana on all the land that I have. Like
yeah,
I could probably have bought a real Lambo, but I got Lambo, which was
yeah,
very different.
yeah, and like good on you for doing it. Like it's absolutely
Yes.
paid off, and I'm glad that I got in as well. It took me a while to pull the trigger, but I did it, and it's
But
funny.
okay, you had your one by two, and then your neighbor so graciously let you expand. Now you have like a full-on 2x4. So like since you first got your land, now you have a neighbor that gave you operation rights
Yeah,
or I think that's really an incredible thing that like someone saw what you were doing in the community and believed in you and provided you space to do more things. And I think that's like going to be more of a thing as well, where um, just having the opportunity to people that want to like, you can go if you want to go do something. There's people that'll help support you do that, which is really like it's great to have the community support. It's
yeah.
nice.
No, it's definitely lovely. I think that's Favid over there. He's over there just standing. He's the guy that is the owner of the other 4x4 over there. So, yo, what's up? But
Yeah, and it's
yeah,
meeting neighbors and stuff too. That's like the thing to find in contact is damn neighbors in here. Um,
there he is. I know. Like I remember Favid, because I was in the casino, and he just because everyone knows that sorry, I don't want to say that. I worked there, and I started off just doing two guides, and I'm very thankful to Decentral Games because they're giving me a reasonable amount of flexibility in terms of what I can do, because I would like to think that they can see that I'm providing value to Decentraland, and essentially providing value to Decentral Games as well. So thankful to them for the flexibility. But when I first came in, I knew that onboarding was one of the biggest issues, and so that's what I did. I just kind of came in, gave tours, and I think that comes back to the whole barrier of entry thing. Is yes, there's a financial thing that stops people from getting in, right? And then, but that's going to bring in a certain mindset, right? Because they want to come in. They're not going to just throw money down the drain and create a porn website or whatever it is, whatever it is. They're not going to waste the land. They kind of want to do something with it. And so, but people kind of for everyday users who want to be able to use the game and play the game, they still have to kind of understand what a MetaMask is and login and all that type of stuff. So I'm hoping that that's where the value of 100 Rainbows can come in, where we do these podcasts and we have these great conversations, and that people can kind of come in here and feel like, you know what, there's no restrictions, there's no limits, and I can kind of talk on what I
There
would
really
like to talk
isn't.
about.
I mean, there's no limits, even physical limits. Like that's the fun thing where like you have whole skyscrapers just show up overnight. I mean, it's really remarkable that you'll have something that's straight up like grass, and then the next day there's a spaceship. You know, it's just like
Yeah,
bam. You know,
yeah,
just all the things that are happening, and you're like, holy shit. You know, just like out of nowhere, and like some new crazy build, or like since last time I was here, you've gone quadruple the size. You know,
yeah,
it's just like, oh, you expanded. You got a whole bunch of trees. Like there's trees on the roof now. You got a neighbor with like that big building now. Like it's just, you know, all these things that are kind of happening as, you know, people come and do them. It's kind of fun, you know, building the world that we're in. It's not like it's just there and you're running around and something that they gave us. It's like you can go make whatever you want. And I like that appeal to
yeah.
it. It's huge. Yeah.
No, I love that too, for sure. Well, mate, why don't we go back down to the table and we'll just maybe summarize and last minute
Sure.
thoughts and things, and we'll call it a day. But yeah, I'll have to make sure the lifts work. Well, I mean, if you're any good at Mario Brothers, and you can kind of jump off the roof and scoot back
Oh
in.
yeah, that's a good
If
challenge. I give
oh,
it
look at
credit to
that,
it. Let's
one
see.
go, one go. I'm just gonna sit here and maybe watch Zeta fall off. Oh, he's gone by the one by one
Oh,
approach.
I missed it. Sorry.
There
Okay.
he is.
All right. The jump challenge. That's
The
the
jump
most
challenge.
interactive game
That's it.
in this game. Is like
You just lost the
jumping to
putt.
things. And yeah, exactly. Like get the damn Pope, have to jump through
You
like a
don't get it
Mario off
now.
Pope token. Yeah.
Oh man, I'm just gonna quickly put on my watermelon hat, which I just thought was really cool. Do you have
Gotta
one?
interview people seriously with it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Would you take me seriously if I was wearing one of these, or would you just take a bite out, maybe a bit of
I mean,
vodka?
if it was like a real watermelon in real life and it was like dripping juice on you, I'd be very like, oh, he's committed to this. But I would like wouldn't, you know, I'd be just like, dang.
I'll just
I
be
mean, like,
eating
I
it,
don't.
just hearing me
Yeah,
eat
like
while I'm talking to you.
I mean, it's smart to have snacks handy.
Yeah, just keep the energy up. Maybe I can
Yeah,
have
exactly.
snacks for the avatars,
Sure.
like a. Oh, mate.
Well, it's been like out here, so I mean, that'd be nice. Keep nice and cool.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe a vodka watermelon. And oh, you know what? I wanted to talk to you about because with the whole sex thing, right? I mean, are you at all with the whole rubber dolls? And I remember
Hmm.
YouTubing it, and they were like expensive. I can't remember how long ago, but it was like thousands of dollars, right? Like I don't know, $10,000 for a rubber doll. Does that sound in the ballpark?
For what?
Like an
Like, what do you
actual
mean?
rubber doll, like a human rubber doll to
Oh,
have sex with, like a fancy dildo.
oh. You know, I don't really know too much about that. More the name I have is more of it's more of the kind of people that are interested in the latex thing. It's more of an
Right.
objectification. Like, you know, it's just like the person that wants to dress up and be like one of those, and it's those fancy $10,000 things you're talking about. But it's like more fun when it's just like a person that wants to play that role for a period of time,
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Gotcha. That's what it's about.
like almost that sort of thing. And it's just kind of like a rubber doll is just like a typically a latex fetishist sort
Yeah.
of thing that like casement latex and is anonymous and whatnot.
Yeah. All right. Um, well, that's good to clarify that what that was because I mean I'm so glad that I ran into you. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast, Ada. You're definitely to me the sex open-minded guy, and it's helped me kind of open my mind up there because I just wouldn't have done it otherwise. I'm really fascinated to see where humanity goes in terms of where we go, yes, mentally, but also kind of what we do with our reproduction and in terms of robots and do we want to become robots? Are we how are we going to evolve? It's just all really
Time.
Oh, it
Well,
just
I mean, those are the most popular things. Everyone wants like the cyberpunk stuff. It's kind of funny.
yeah, it's
Right
just
about
space,
it, you know?
just the whole space thing, I guess maybe. It's really
Yeah.
testing our
Um,
boundaries.
yeah, and I think that, leaving that, where we go is where it goes. I mean, I personally like the idea of that I can have my body of work be in this space, and eventually one day when I'm no longer here, it could continue to exist in this space. And I think that's kind of a cool thing, that you could have that sort of thing because it's all on the blockchain. So this is very like I could keep this forever, and like I can't wait to see where this goes in 5, 10 years from now. Like where are we going to be at? How
Yeah.
many watermelons have? Who knows?
I think we'll be here, but maybe in virtual reality. And
Yeah, we'll have that soon. Hopefully, I'm looking forward to that.
yeah, just a shout out to Brian McLean just in the chat here was talking about Neuralink. So I mean that's a whole another podcast here, like kind of getting that installed in your brain, and let's save that for another one. Maybe we'll have Zeta on again in a month's time or however long it is, and the Decentraland just moves so fast, and if you take a week off, then it's good to get out in the real world, but there's a lot that happens. Um,
Mm,
so yeah, mate, thank you so much again for coming on.
no problem. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, it's been a pleasure. This is the live stream, and this was 100 Rainbows and Zeta on the Watermelon podcast. Thank you everyone for watching. Those who were here in world, thanks for coming. Those who were on Twitch or YouTube, thanks so much. Kirzos and Sterabuse17, thank you guys. I'll edit these videos, Favin in the background doing a dance, that's awesome. Again, thanks everyone. I'll do a proper edited version of it and kind of
Sure.
put that up later. But again, thanks, mate. Take it easy.
Yeah.
Have fun in Decentraland. See you later.
See you around. Bye.